for the garbage wrestling championship of the universe, I guess, the painmaker Chris Jericho faced the bank-addicted drug robber on national television. And I had alternating emotions. I felt sad for Chris. I was embarrassed for the wrestling business. What the fuck? It's embarrassing. Here comes down the ramp. Well, first of all, Jericho comes out first in the Painmaker outfit. It reminded me, remember when Dusty teamed up with the Road Warriors and painted up and wore the spikes?
Yes.
Dusty also teamed up with the Rock and Roll and fucking wore bandanas, but he was trying to, sap some over. So Jericho looks like a Road Warrior in a cross between a Road Warrior and like I said, the chairman of the board of a German S&M club. And here comes, he was announced at 207 pounds. Can this guy be 5'6"? He's got broken, missing, yellowed teeth, a meth head, basically introduced from the Murder, Death, Kill gang. So now we're promoting gang signs, gang symbols. And these are notes I wrote, and we'll come back to talk about this. I wrote, TNT wants this on their station. Shouldn't some authority be investigating these people? The Murder, Death, Kill gang that this clown represents. MJF came out with popcorn to do commentary, and I couldn't even listen to MJF because I was gobsmacked and dumbstruck at what they were allowing on their television. The Murder, Death, Kill gang representative is pacing around in the ring with a pizza cutter and walking around like he's already shit his own pants with some kind of squat-legged fucking stance while MJF is introducing himself. On the first move of the match, he waves the pizza cutter at Jericho and Jericho blades his arm. This was where immediately I started getting sad for Chris. A 50-year-old multimillionaire that used to be a star somehow has convinced himself that he needs to cut his arms with a razor blade to further a match with a fucking bank robber and a drug addict who does garbage shit in front of garbage people. And Chris has convinced himself this is somehow going to lead him to be remembered fondly by the wrestling public because he engages in garbage blood matches with scum. They went to the floor, they threw bad-looking punches, and they took weak rail bumps. And then Gage did some sloppy shit to Jericho. You can see the scars all over this clown's bald head from all this stupid shit he's done. He's a human scar. And then Jericho comes out from under this and gets the walls of Jericho, the Boston Crab, and the bank-addicted drug robber, I will call him Batter for short, reaches out and gets the ropes, and the referee calls for a rope break in a death match with no rules. But you got a break on the ropes. They're trying to have a wrestling match in the middle of this thing when they opened with a pizza cutter. So then they go to the floor, and Jericho grabs a headlock and has to throw 4 obviously fake headlock punches to Gage's head before Gage was able to hear, "Post me!" And then he did, so Jericho could now blade his head after he's already bladed his arm. So far, I've had wrestling school students that were in their first class that a pro could have had a better match with than Nick Gage. Then Gage brings out light tubes from under the ring, and the idiot, low IQ AEW fans go crazy because a guy is bringing out fluorescent light tubes. But Jericho gets a baseball bat. And Jericho hits Gage with 3 fake baseball bat shots. I'm not saying it was a fake bat. I'm saying the shots were fake. Because they didn't look good, but I know they were fake because Gage got right up and stopped Jericho, and Jericho dropped his bat. And then Gage ignores the bat laying there so that he can pick up his pizza cutter. Brian, if you're in a fight with a guy, you got your choice. The bat or the pizza cutter? Which is your pick?
It depends if I'm anywhere near fresh pizza.
Well, we'll talk about that later on. Fresh pizza. It's going to be.
No, we won't.
It's going to be very scarce around the AEW locker room.
I wouldn't call it fresh either, but anyway.
Yeah. So, Chris Jericho, as I mentioned, a wealthy 50-year-old, formerly respected professional wrestler, is allowing a fucking scum-sucking, bottom-feeding, bank-robbing, meth-cooking circus geek to slice his head up with a pizza cutter on TNT cable nationally across the world. And that's the break spot. And as that pizza cutter is slicing Jericho and blood's flying everywhere, they go to the break and the spot's for Domino's Pizza. And the first thing you see is this pizza cutter cutting this delicious, steaming piece of pizza, this pizza pie. We'll get back to that. They come back on the other side of the break. By the time they're back, there's 4 chairs, a baseball bat, fluorescent light tubes, and a pizza cutter, and a pane of glass in the ring. But Jericho gets up and blocks it, gets up on the turnbuckles and hits 10 fake punches to Nick Gage's head. And I know it's hard to punch bald guys, but it can be done if you're not blown up and disgusted, which is obviously what Jericho was at this point. And he gave a Hurricane Rana to bank-addicted drug robber through the pane of glass, sending glass flying into the crowd everywhere. NewLawOffice.com, 888-692-8084. And after this bump, where a guy got Hurricane Rana'd off the top rope and took a forward flip through a pane of glass, shattering into a million pieces, you see the camera shot of the crowd in the front row, and they're smiling and laughing. And that tells the whole story. Oh, by the way, that was a 2 count. Hurricane Rana off the top, through a pane of glass and chairs to the floor. That's a 2 count. The people were laughing at this. That's what they came for, to laugh at the freaks in the freak show. I'm sad for Chris that he feels that this is something that he has to do for some reason. But nevertheless, then Jericho takes a bump in the glass. And the sideshow geek breaks multiple light tubes over his head and gives Jericho a pile driver in the glass for a 2 count. And this is where I was insulted that they were doing this in a formerly great wrestling town in my adopted hometown, where I lived for longer than I lived for anywhere except Louisville, Kentucky in my life. And thinking of what all the great talent that had appeared there before would think of this. It was both disgusting and moving at a snail's pace at the same time. So then, Bader stabbed Jericho in the head with a broken light tube multiple times. Now Meth Head McGee pulls out taped light tubes that are taped together, and JR finally has had enough. And he says, well, this is fun.
This is fun.
And Tony Schiavone not picking up on that JR would rather be having another goddamn intestinal operation like he had years ago than be sitting in front of this exhibition. Tony didn't pick up on that. Tony said, this is the place to be, is it not? And there was dead silence. JR didn't say a fucking word, and excrement knew probably from the look on JR's face not to jump in. So then finally Jericho hit bank-addicted drug robber with the light tubes and hit him with the Judas elbow and 1, 2, 3. And that was it. Bloody, garbage, mess, sad, embarrassing, insulting, bewildering on so many levels. I don't know what to think.